Greetings. Uh-oh. Really? Right off the rip, you're gonna do me like this? Webcam utility? Come on now. Coming back. Here I come. Nope. Sometimes that works. Hold on, let me power cycle the camera. What's up, friends? My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. I've got a brand new RunCam Hero 12 because my old one just stopped working. It didn't completely stop working, but it would stop recording at random, and you can't have that when you're using it for work. Welcome to Freestyle Friday. I went to Patrick's yesterday and had an absolute blast, as we always do when we hang out. And when I got home, Kim Fused and Gardo Rotor had put up, well, I think they put it up a couple days ago, but I saw their video right here. 11 drones in a day challenge. And it made me realize that I had just flown a whole bunch of different builds at Patrick's. And so this is me ripping them off. Here's a link in chat to that video. Go subscribe, go leave a comment, go say Yo, Ciotti ripped you off. You should copyright strike him and send him a box of human feces. And they'll be very confused as to why, like, more than one people? More than one person is saying that to them. So yeah, go show them some love. Kim and Gardo are awesome. They've been long time FPV friends of mine. They've been in the game for a while, and they're just super, super, super cool people. So go support them, give them a subscription, and watch that video. It's very cool. They've got an amazing spot to fly right now. It's so cool. They've got all these trees around them. You'll see. Go give it a watch. You'll love it. So yeah, I realized that I flew 9 different builds yesterday at Patrick's. 5-inch glide, 3-inch Siren F3 split, 3.5-inch Grinderino, 2S 1.6-inch O4. Shit, I forgot to get the footage off this thing. O4 Whoop, 2S Analogue 1.6-inch Whoop, 1S 1.6-inch tree topper Whoop, the Hummingbird V4, the Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoop, and the 1.4-inch Mobula 6 2024. I think that's 9. I counted when I was taking the thumbnail, and it was 9. If it's not 9, you'll live. It'll be fine. You'll be all right. So you're going to get to look at how somebody that's been flying for pretty much 10 years adjusts and flies differently at the same location with all different sized builds, all different power levels, all different camera systems. And hopefully this will help you choose the exact right build to either buy or build. The exact right drone to either buy or build. There you go. And so, yeah, I'm hoping that this will be super helpful for you beautiful bastards. Matthew W. was first in the chat. McMucus was next. Borkbits. Josh Bergeron. Douglas 6. Schweitzer. FizzPV. McMucus. Borkbits again. Michael Blade. Jason Levin. Brent Anderson. Flycadelic Eco. Elias. What's up, everybody? Thanks for hanging. This should be a good one. I'm gonna be plugging all these rigs in to transfer stuff off of them. So if you see me kind of looking around, it's just me, yeah, plugging different stuff in to get them up and running here. I should probably start keeping track of I should probably start making folders in here with descriptions of each of these. Sometimes it's super simple. Like, you know, I'm gonna have a one GoPro video in here from obviously a 5-inch rig, but some of these other ones are less obvious. This is gonna be pretty obvious because of the clear props versus the giant gray props of the Grinderino. So I'm probably okay with these two. But yeah, I'll get a little, whoa, hold on. Don't delete that yet. Yeah, I'll stay somewhat organized just for you. What does that mean? Hey, CiottiFPV.com if you like these live streams and would like to support me, continue to help you not waste your money. Hopefully I help you not buy things that catch on fire, and then you can take some of those dollars and send them back my way so that I can tell you the next thing to not buy because it's a piece of garbage or it breaks or whatever. So yeah, head on over to CiottiFPV.com. There's a million ways that you can support me. It's Friday. Maybe you just got paid and you want to have some retail therapy. I've got an Etsy store. I just added some new stuff. I added a set of 2306.5 motors. I added those RC and Power 1003s. And I dropped the prices on all the other motors. There's like 5 or 6 sets of motors on there I just dropped the pricing on absolutely all of them. So yeah, there's a link to my Etsy store with lots of fun stuff on CiottiFPV.com. There's a link to my Fiverr page where you can work one-on-one with me if you really want to learn a lot really fast. That's the absolute best way. There's a link to my Teespring store with lots of fun shirts and other random apparel. Whole bunch of affiliate links. If you're going to do an order on a website, someone's got an affiliate link. Help them out. Take a couple minutes, find somebody's affiliate link, click it, and then check out. Support those of us that are, doing the hard thing, which is making content on YouTube. It's crazy. It's insane. I don't recommend it. It's fun, but very, very difficult. And then the best possible way you can support me is to join my Patreon for as little as $3 a month. That's only 10 cents a day. It is the best way to show your love, and you get the most benefits. You're going to get access to a YouTube playlist with, I think it's over 100 now, unreleased edits, Patreon-only live streams, all kinds of fun stuff. Sketchy flying, I don't like being public. You're going to get full access to my Discord. There's like twice as many text channels on my Discord for patrons. And the undying love of the gangliest gangle in all of FPV. So do it. You'll love it. Oh, there's a bunch of technical articles on the Patreon page itself too. So lots of good stuff. Well worth $3 a month. This coming Monday, 3 days from now, is the first Monday of October, which means that patrons are entered into 3 giveaways. So if you get on the $5 a month tier, you'll be entered to win Tiny Whoop and Toothpick parts. If you get on the $10 a month tier, you'll be entered to win 3-inch micro brushless and Cinewhoop parts. If you join the $20 a month tier, you'll be entered to win 5-inch parts. The value of the giveaways is anywhere from like $30 to $100 worth of stuff. So yeah, there's also a $30, $1 a day tier. That's going to enter you to win everything, all 3 of those. So if you have an extra $1 a day for the gangles, you can be entered into 3 giveaways a month every single first Monday of the month. You don't have to be on the live stream. It just happens. It's all good to go. You'll just receive a package in the mail with maybe $100 worth of stuff and be like, wow, that was well worth $1 a day, wasn't it? Thank you, friends. Is that done copying? It is indeed. All right, move this to trash. So this is going to take a while because we flew a whole bunch of batteries. And we had an absolute blast. And so here, away we go. Okay. Should we go? I guess we should probably go biggest. Where did this come from? What was on this card? It's the quad that's plugged in that I meant to unplug. Okay. So this guy, footage is off this guy. This is 2S, and so it goes in there. Let's start big with the 5-inch build that I flew there, which is here on the table being taken apart. This is one of my 2 full tilt freestyle glides. They're both analog. I had a digital one, but I put dead cat arms on the front, and I flew it at that exotic car cancer rally, and I think I'm going to leave the dead cat arms on the front. It has really fresh motors, and I don't really fly freestyle that much anymore, and I already have 2 analog freestyle rigs, so I don't really need like a third for something I don't really do all that much. So I think I'm going to leave that as my digital 5-inch lightweight build. And so, yeah, this is one of the 2 analog freestyle glides. This is the lightweight one. This is on these insane AMAX motors, which are, I want to say 2305. Oh my God. Not only did they make it super small, they made it scripty. 2305 and a half, 1950 kV, super Leggera AMAX motors. I have not crashed these motors really hard into pavement yet. I have no idea how they're going to hold up. I got them because they're unbelievably lightweight. These motors are 23 and a half grams, I think. That's ridiculous. I've been running T-Motor F40 Pro 2 and Pro 4s for the last like 8 years because they're very lightweight. They're 2306s and they are 29 grams. The Pro 2 is like 29.9 or something, and then the Pro 4 is 29.1 or 29.2, I think it is. Those are super, super, super light 5-inch motors. These are ridiculously light 5-inch motors. They still make really good power, as you're about to see. And my God, man, this thing is just like having that much less weight on the end of the arm is just outrageous. Like this thing is alive, man. It reads your thoughts, even though I have all my normal like stick smoothing and loads of D-gain kind of setup. This is mechanically unbelievably responsive. Really, really, really cool. I realized yesterday that there's an electrical noise system. There's an electrical noise problem on this rig that is absolutely ridiculous. So while this is playing, I'm going to be removing the top plate, and I'm going to put this over in the on-deck circle to hopefully remind myself to dig into it and figure out what on earth is going on. I'll tell you what, man, I don't miss troubleshooting the electrical noise problems. That is something that when we went to digital builds, we no longer had to deal with, and that's been pretty nice not having to deal with that, but you know, it is what it is. I don't know which memory card is which, so I'm just going to be randomly flipping through these. Hey, if you want to talk to me in the chat, type CiottiFPV in your chat message. By doing that, for me, my own name will light up in orange. You can do that with each other. If you want to get somebody's attention, type their name, spell it right, and for that person, their name will light up in orange. Mick says, I'm making a taco salad / burrito bar for my BD gang. Swing by. What's BD? Borkbit says, backing to move, put batteries in box of truck or in cab with me, 10 to 4S and 21 to 2S pack, small metal tool box of batteries. Are you going out to fly? Is that what I'm reading? Michael Blade says, hey there. Brad Anderson says, cheers. Croptober. What's Croptober? Elias says, today I broke a 6mm arm from my word that begins with K frame. Insanely strong frame, but I still made it happen. Lost the whole arm and motor and race wire. Also ripped out the ESC solder pads. Oh, dude, that sucks. That's an expensive crash right there. P. Richard Scott's in the chat. He says, Monica wants to see any footage of the property / house. Deal. No use you guys looking at my stupid face flapping. Here, watch this. And I'll talk through the chat. Actually, let's just take a moment. Let's take a moment to appreciate the best thing about the GoPro Session 5, which is the microphone setup. I don't know how they did it, but it always has and probably always will collect the best onboard audio of all time. And I'm just going to shut up and you guys can enjoy. I'm going to enjoy as well. I actually haven't watched this yet. Here you go.
Oh, 5, bro?
It's also still on
Is
the
it
cross.
has to
Your last you are.
much up tilt now.
Always have to put the goddamn.
That momentum. I did not.
Well, there you go. 49 GemFan 4934 propellers are what was on that. That rig. I really like the 4.9-inch propellers for the lighter weight 5-inch builds. There's no reason to have a 5.1-inch prop on a 590 gram build. This, I haven't actually weighed this in a while. I'm pretty sure it's 590 something. I don't think it's down in the 580s. But let me take a super fast look here. So GoPro Session is 72.3 grams. I also just was reminded that this is the budget build. This was the old budget build from a long ass time ago. It's got a kind of cheapo Mamba flight controller in it, and I have no idea what the ESC is. There's that, and I just need a battery. I run these Tattoo version 1 6S 1050 mAh batteries, and I still get the runtime that you just saw. And so I thought it might be less than 590. 588.5. Yeah, look at that. 588.5. That's with a 72 gram Session 5. If I did a whatever that wacky DJI thin Session 5 looking thing is, what's that, the Action 2? If I did that thing, I would save like another 10 or so grams, I guess. So yeah, man, you can build sub 600 gram 5-inch rigs that are still really durable. You know, how many times did I crash it in that video? None of those wrecks were super hard, but there wasn't a scratch on it. Eventually it bent one of the propeller blades up, but that when I came in and landed, I bent it back straight and away we went. So yeah, this whole like 800 gram 5-inch thing is a bit insane. In fairness, you know, if you build a 5-inch rig that heavy, you're probably going to have a ton of power, and then it's going to have all the momentum in the world, and you're going to be able to hurl it over, you know, a football field off throttle inverted. And, you know, that's fun. But in terms of like having something really like reactive and light and that doesn't have all that momentum sliding outwards when you're trying to turn the thing, there's nothing that can touch these lightweight builds. And yeah, I like rigs that fly like that. I don't, as we always talk about, I don't like corner like this to be able to handle all that momentum. I corner very flat. And so the lighter weight the rig is, the better it's going to kind of mesh with my personal flying. So that's a big power 5-inch rig at Patrick's spot. And so I'm hauling ass down that road that wraps around the back. I'm throwing it up over big clusters of trees, right? I'm throwing it up over like 3, 4, 5 trees at a time. Big dives from, you know, 399 feet up, probably not that high, but flying big is how is what I call what you were just watching. That to me is flying big. Fast, nose down, big full throttle bursts to generate like maximum speed and then off the throttle and let it sail. That is how you fly a big spot in my opinion. And if you are at a big spot and you have a big power heavy rig, perfect match, right? You can also fly smaller. And so now we're going to drop down to a 3.5-inch rig, and I'm going to fly a little bit smaller. I'm still going to use the whole space, but I am going to fly smaller, and there is no audio. The rest of this stuff isn't going to have any audio, so I might as well just flip this up here. And so yeah, we'll do 3.5-inch. So this is going to be the Grinderino next. Here you go. So now we're Grinderinoing. This is a DJI O3 on board, which you're going to see when I get to the 3-inch rig. I was really struggling. I really like to lock the settings and not let them use the auto ISO or the auto exposure, but this is a perfect example of where that really doesn't work. This is a spot that I'm flying here where a lot of the area is in full shade. The sun is starting to come down, so the sky is still really bright. The treetops are really bright, but down here, it's 100% shade. And so there is a wide sort of, the brights are very bright in the sky, and then the darks are very dark under these trees. And so I should not have had the ISO and the shutter locked. What I should have done is put the ISO in automatic mode. I already have the ISO bracketed. I have it set to not go above 800, ISO 800. But I had it locked to, like, I don't know, ISO 100 or something like that, and that was silly. So yeah, I'm still learning the O3. I wanted to give this a try and see how it was. And like, as you can see, the sky is just pure white. And like, it's okay with the sky being pure white, but it does this really ugly thing to the tops of the trees, right? Like, it's so bright that it just looks terrible in the tops of the trees here. So yeah, now I know O3 doesn't quite have enough dynamic range for a scenario like this where you're going to be flying quite a bit in full shade under a lot of tree cover. If these trees were spread apart more and there was more natural light hitting the ground, it would have probably been a little bit better. It would have certainly been a little bit better. This is going to happen late in the day, right? When the sun is low on the horizon. It's not going to be able to punch through the trees when there's thick tree coverage like this and get down to the ground. And so down on the ground, you're going to be in total shade. I forget what I was adjusting here, but again, this is my Grinderino build. It's on X-Nova 1804 motors. The propellers are Gemfan 3525s. Tons of power, as you can see. Tons of float. Oh, that's the end of that flight footage. Oh, you know what I did? I think oh no, you know what? I ran that battery down really low. That's right. I ran and got it because I ran that battery down to like 3.2 volts or something like that. And so, oops. Here we go. Battery number 2 with it. No ND filter. As you can see, the sun was pretty low. Yeah, Xnova 1804, 3500 kV motors, and 4S 850 mAh battery. All up, this thing is like 310 grams, I think. Those twitches that you're seeing, those are the ESC on its way out. So I'm just pounding on this thing until the ESC fully dies, and then I'll switch it out. I gotta try to find some 20x20 ESCs that are half decent and cheap. I have a feeling it's going to be SkyStars. I've heard really good things about SkyStars recently, so I think I'm going to try them out. I just got to try to find something that's not $90 for a 20x20 ESC. I only really need it to be like 20 amps, right? Like micros don't have much of an amp draw. But yeah, I got to find that because this twitching is super annoying. This is a really old SpeedX GS25 BL Heli 32 ESC that I bought a bunch of those SpeedX ESCs when they were like the best that were available, but that was 5 or 6 years ago, maybe even longer than that. Yeah, again, the twitching was really bad. The twitching is getting worse and worse, so the ESC is certainly going to die at some point here. I really should, I don't know, I really should just pull it apart and get it out of there, because if it dies right now, it's in the top of that tree forever, and I lose the entire rig, not just the ESC. But like, you know, I want to use it up, bro. I want to use up all the ESC. I've used up like 90% of this ESC so far. I want to use that last 10%. You know what I mean? If I can find some 20x20, 20, 25, 30 amp ESCs for cheap, I'll snag a couple and get this thing fixed up, because it flies fantastic. My God, these 1804s with these propellers are insanely good. The power is incredible, very efficient. Lots of propeller in view, as you can see here. There's even a little bit of top plate in view. The twitching is absolutely insane right here. I do have a different camera mount for this thing that will get the props out of view, but it's gonna put the camera really far forward, and sacrifice some durability on the camera. Which, you know, this is a basher rig. I've changed the field of view from super wide to wide in hopes that would at least get the top plate out of view, but it didn't. I'm not going to go to the normal field of view. So I don't know what to do here. I'm okay with props in view, but the top plate in view thing is a bit much. The camera mount that I'm using is from, I think it's Metal Dirtskin's design, and it puts the O3 camera as far forward as you can possibly put it, while keeping it within the cage so that it's protected. Yeah, I don't know. I'm really tempted to actually take a Dremel to the top plate. I think that I can remove enough material from the top plate to at least get these to the point where they're not like spikes sticking out here. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do about that. Maybe I'll just leave it. So that's the Grinderino 3.5-inch builds. Hold on. Let me get caught up on chat just a little bit more here, in case you guys are asking me questions about these things as I'm flying them. Everyday with Bruno says, you see what Madstech posted about ELRS? I did not. Tell me. Everyday with Bruno says, and someone trying to trademark ELRS. Somebody's trying to trademark ELRS? What? UFSTW says, how do you know when to start throwing stuff away? Like, I have a lot of used and abused parts and quads that don't want to tune, so I don't know what parts are causing the issues. LOL. I have a hard time with that, man. I have a hard time not throwing things away that aren't on fire. You know, this thing is twitching all over the goddamn place. But like, yeah, I feel like I should keep flying this ESC until it explodes. If this ESC literally explodes, it could burn down the flight controller or the entire quad if I can't get to it in time. So like, if you're smarter than me, when an ESC starts to act up, you pull it out and you swap it and you sell it on eBay as used once. Don't do that. Don't do that. But yeah, you know, when a component in a quad starts acting up, there's a chance that you're going to lose the entire quad. And that's a lot more expensive than just biting the bullet, taking it out, and replacing it. And so, yeah, I should really replace the ESC in this thing because it was twitching like once or twice per battery. All of a sudden yesterday, I mean, you saw it, like it's like 10, 15, 20 times per battery, and that's a bit much. It's super annoying because I just got this thing put all back together, so I'm really tempted to just keep flying it at least for a little bit, since I just spent all this time switching it over to O3 and all that jazz. And swapping an ESC is a lot of work. You know, that's a couple hours of work. And so, yeah, annoying. But I'm going to put this in the on-deck circle here to remind myself that there's something wrong with it. And if somebody knows of a good, cheap 20x20, 20 amp, 25 amp, 30 amp ESC, good for micros, let me know. I don't care if it's BLHeli32. I don't care if it's AK-47. I don't care if it's 8-bit. I would almost prefer it to be 8-bit because at this point, ESC configurator just works really well. And, like, you know, AM32 is, like, apparently a pain in the ass to use. I still haven't used it. BLHeli32 is a goddamn living nightmare. So, yeah. Eco says, curious if you've tried 3D mode on a Tiny Whoop before, since you're kind of the Tiny Whoop guy. It's so weird being called the Tiny Whoop guy. I didn't do that on purpose. I just fell in love with being able to fly a lot. You know, like for a long time I was the micro guy. I was really known for like 3-inch rigs and stuff like that. And then I exclusively flew 5-inch for literally years, and I became somewhat known for that. And then I started booking cinematic jobs and became somewhat known for that for a few years. But then like 2 years ago, for these live streams, I realized that like I could fly live, and Tiny Whoops were not really all that optimized, and I just had started having so much fun being able to fly battery after battery after battery without taking the walk of shame 1,000 times and all that jazz, that yeah, I've become known as the Whoop guy, which is it's weird. I've not tried 3D mode. It's cool, the people that do it. It's a little too mind-bending for me, being that, you know, I do this for a job. The idea of learning to fly 3D or learning to fly wings, that is like taking away time that I could be practicing the normal, you know, stick layout and way that drones fly, to make me better when I'm on set. And so for me personally, I'm keeping it like regular 2-dimensional, I guess, FPV, and just, yeah, all of the flying that I do is 1-to-1 with all of the other flying I do. Sure, flying a 5-inch rig is quite a bit different than flying a Cinewhoop, but yeah, I'm not super interested in like learning a whole different discipline. I want all of the stick time that I can get to be towards this one goal of, you know, hopefully continuing long term to be a 50% live streamer, 50% freelance FPV drone pilot. You know, I'm coming up on 4 years at some point here. I want to keep it going. It's hard. It's really difficult to book jobs for FPV. It's such a very specific thing, and we all, well, we don't all. I wish we all charged a premium for it. Those of us that don't want to be a part of the race to the bottom, destroying it for everyone, we charge a premium for it, and that is difficult. You know, it's difficult to book jobs for what we charge. I am absolutely on the lower end of what most of the other pro pilots charge. I am nowhere near what the hobbyists charge. A lot of them actually will do gigs for free, and I can't compete with that. Unfortunately, you know, there's just story after story after story of those being the gigs where an FPV rig smashes into the windshield of a Lambo, and now every single person on that set will never use FPV ever again because they think that we're all like that. And so it's tough, man. Like, you know, I want you guys to go fly interesting subjects and whatnot. I don't know how to explain that, like you gotta wait until you're ready, and unfortunately that's a long time. Like, you have to be, when you're on set, and the anxiety level is absolutely ridiculous. There's so much that can go wrong all at once, and you get like one, maybe two chances to get it right, and like all of those things compound, and like even if the shot that you're trying to get is only like this difficult, like you need to be this good to be able to get that because of all that other shit that's kind of going on. And it's tough, and yeah, so I don't know what the answer is, but there you go. There's a little rant for you that you didn't ask for. Borkbit says, moving 1,000 miles in a box truck, put batteries in a box in the cab with me. Got it. Good idea. Don't burn the back of the truck down. Only burn the front of the truck down. Uriel says, JoJo for everybody and CiottiFPV. What's that mean? Jamie Flies FPV says hi. Matthew Vega says, old school CiottiFPV freestyle. Yeah, man. Jimmy Flies FPV says, I wanted live audio when you hit the fence. Yeah, hitting stuff with the Session 5 on the quad is great. My favorite of all time, and it's happened multiple times, is hitting stop signs at like 7,000 miles an hour with a 5-inch rig with the Session 5 on board. It just, like, it sounds exactly the way that you think it would. Just, and like the sign will wobble and you hear like, it's just insane. Striker says, flying rigs that light is magic. I love my 2040 kV 2207 750 gram 1500 mAh that I can just full throttle the whole battery and not have a hot battery, but there's nothing like that. Brent Anderson says, Croptober when the wheat comes down. Got it. Ramalala says, $3.99 is as far as True Man goes. True Man? Who's True Man? The Truman Show? I want to watch The Truman Show again. That's one of my favorite movies. Striker says, half decent and cheap. Those things don't go together anymore. Thanks to Mr. Orange Tiny Hands. Eco says, I run the SpeedyB F405 mini stack on my 3.5. The ESC from that may be interesting for you, 20 by 20 and cheap. Yeah, the SpeedyB stuff is top of the list for cheap. Although last time I looked, it wasn't really all that cheap anymore. But yeah, I'm gonna take a look at the SpeedyB stuff. Will be the with the Sky Stars. Those are the two ones that I'll mainly look at. Everyday with Bruno says, lightly used only in clean air. Oh, yeah, indeed. Sugar says, secure blue sun is the way. 60. Oh my God, 65 amp, but it's only $40. No. In my opinion, don't buy a 65 amp ESC that's only $40. There's something, the higher amperage the FETs, the more expensive they are for the manufacturer to buy. So if they're selling this for $40 and it's got 65 amp FETs, they didn't have any money left to spend on the rest of the things in the ESC that fail just as commonly as the FETs. That's absolutely insane. 65 amp for $40. That's wild. Maybe it's great, but boy, that I would worry about that. You Can FPV says, I watched Quad 6.6 4.3 PID tuning video and the 4.3 filter video like 9 times, so I thought I was getting pretty good understanding of everything, but when I start tuning PIDs, it flies away. That's FPV, brother. Trying to understand filtering and PIDs is incredibly difficult. It took me many, many years. Sometimes it's just always remember, though, that it's typically a mechanical problem. Propellers, motors, frame, proper soft mounting, a gyro that's not on its way out, an electrical system that has enough capacitance on board, right? It is much more often that the mechanical system is to blame for you not being able to get a rockin' PID tune on a build. It is usually not, like, if you have good, well-balanced props, motors, strong frame that's not broken, screws that are tight, half-decent quality electrical system, if you have all of those things, if the quad is mechanically sound, you don't have to do anything crazy. You don't really have to understand filters. You don't really have to understand PIDs. You can run damn near stock filtering and just start moving the master multiplier up, and it'll fly totally fine. Where spending a ton of time learning filter tuning and PID tuning and black box and all that jazz is really valuable is when the mechanical system sucks, when you've got a cheap shitty SC in there, when you haven't built it right, when you've got garbage props. And so the mechanical system is bad, and you need to sort of band-aid that with a really good filter setup. And so, yeah, always look to the mechanical system first. If you're having problems PID tuning, something is wrong there. And it could, even if you have the components are all like good quality wise, you could just have a motor that's not nearly powerful enough for the propeller, which is called overpropped. That mismatch of a motor that doesn't have enough power and a propeller that's too heavy or too draggy, that is going to make the response time really bad. The PID loop is telling the motors constantly to speed up and slow down. If the motor doesn't have enough grunt to do that quickly, the response time of the PID loop saying, hey, speed up, and it starts to speed up, and it just barely starts to get it sped up, but then the PID loop goes, no, slow down, and then it just barely has enough time to slow the prop down, and then the PID loop says, no, speed up again. And in that whole time, it's barely done anything because the motor is too weak, right? And so always look at the mechanical system first. Is my recommendation. Never, ever, ever think that an infinite knowledge of PID tuning and filter tuning is going to make you be able to take any build and make it fly awesome. The mechanical system is how the build flies. The PID tune and the filter tune are how you kind of dial it into the way you want it to fly. Me, I run tons of D-gain and tons of stick smoothing, because I want my quads to be almost lazy when I move the sticks around. But the PID tune is aggressive enough that when the wind hits it, it's nice and stable. And so I do things within Betaflight to make the flight footage look the way that I want it to look. But the tune itself is aggressive enough that it'll fight prop wash, it'll fight the wind, it'll fight all these bad behaviors. That is how I personally dial the quad in to make the footage look the way I want it to look. That's what you should be doing, in my opinion, with the PID tune and the filtering and the other things in Betaflight. You should not be relying on the PID tune and the filters to make a quad that's rough mechanically better or, like, you know, acceptable. So there you go. There were my thoughts on PID tuning. It's hard. It is legitimately hard. The filters affect the PIDs. The PIDs affect the filters. The rates affect the PIDs. The PIDs affect the rates. There's a lot of things that all kind of like glomp together. Circus says, from what I've heard, the Blue Sun stuff is pretty decent in terms of quality control, better than Speedy Bee even. Who are you hearing that from? Are you hearing that from people who've broken lots of stuff? Striker says, at that point, you got to go Sky Stars, but their 35 amp is $50. Jesus. You can have FPV says, it's probably my motors, but man, I'm killing these things so quick. Motors are consumables, for sure. You can have FPV says, new motors it is. I might have to switch to 1.5 millimeter shaft. Yeah, motors are consumable almost regardless of the composition. There are certain things that you can do that make motors significantly more durable, but for the record, motors are absolutely consumable items. If you've got a rig that's unruly and you've had the same motors on it for a while, I can almost guarantee you that the motors are just shot to shit. I've shown you guys lots of ways to try to figure out if your motor shafts are bent and wobbling around. You know, yeah. Just understand, drive it in your head that motors are consumable. I know they're expensive, but yeah, they take a ton of abuse. All right, so next up, we've got the Quadmula Siren F3 split. This is on Mamba Toka 1505 3800 kV motors, Gemfan 3052 propellers, O3 with a naked VTX in the back, but the full camera in the front so that I can run ND filters. Trying to get it to catch the light. I just caught it for a split second. This guy is same 4S 850 mAh batteries. This guy is 265 grams all up. This was the first thing that I flew, and so I'm gonna fly for a second, land, fly. Wait, no, this ain't it. I can tell by the twitching. Here you go. So a lot less propeller in view, and I don't actually think this is top plate in view here. I think this is the edges, the corners of the ND filter. I have a different set of camera mounts for this build though that I need to put on, and if it is top plate in view, it'll get the top plate out of view. I just haven't had a chance to put those camera mounts on. It doesn't bother me nearly as much as the Grinderino. So yeah, now we're doing 3-inch. All up weight is down a little bit. The first little bit here, I've got the brightness set way too high. This is me landing, and so now I'm gonna take the shutter speed, which I believe was 1/60th of a second there, and I'm gonna now move it to 1/120th of a second. That's one full stop different. So now the ground is a lot darker and the sky isn't totally blown out. And so I want to show you something here. I want to show you the effect that has. The sky, there was not a cloud in the sky. So the sky is kind of ugly. But by bringing the sky down a little bit, the tops of the trees don't look as stupid anymore. You see that? The tops of the trees are not completely blown out anymore. So like this is kind of what you want. Like there's although this is actually a little bit too dark. You'll see in a second when I'm under the trees. Yeah, when you're working with a camera system, which is pretty much all of the camera systems that we work with, that don't have mega dynamic range because they don't have giant sensors on them, this is just the deal. Like you've got to find an exposure that exposes the brightest parts of the scene and the darkest parts of the scene in a way that it's like, you can see where the hell you're flying. Like this was so dark here under the trees that I just immediately bailed on it. Like I couldn't, on this dive, I couldn't see what the hell I was doing. And so I hit a totally invisible kind of branch there, right? And so this is too dark. Like under the trees where I'm going to be flying, it's just pitch black. And so even though we've fixed the exposure in the sky, the exposure down low is all wrong. And so this is when I realized, okay, it's the sky is just going to have to be blown out. And so now this next battery is me going back to like 1/60th of a second. I think I might have turned the ISO down a notch or something because the sky isn't as blown out, but it's still totally blown out here, right? But when I drop down below the trees, now it's properly exposed and I can see what the hell I'm doing down here. So this is as good as it's going to get, really, for a DJI O3 at this time of day at this specific location. An ND filter would not help this at all. ND filters are just putting sunglasses on the quad. They're going to allow you to run a slower shutter speed, but they're not going to change the dynamic range of the scene. There's nothing you can do about this. The only thing you can do about this is to run a different camera system that has more dynamic range. The O4 system does. The O4 Pro system would be doing a better job here. Tell me that's not all I flew with that rig. There we go. Now I'm going back down. Now I'm bouncing the exposure back down again, and now it's too dark again down here. I think I might land one more time and fix it again. This is me learning, again, like I said before, this is me learning the DJI O3 system. Just figuring out what I need to do to make this thing work in a really dynamic kind of setting here. FPV is infinitely dynamic. We drop down super low to the ground where it's dark as hell. We go up really high where it's super bright. And so our jobs as camera people trying to nail exposure is incredibly difficult. And you're always in this situation where you have to make some compromises. The DJI O3 system does not have a wide enough dynamic range where in a situation like this, I can leave the ISO and the shutter speed locked, which is what I've been doing with it to see if I can make it work. And the answer is no. This is unusable footage here down below the trees. Because I was trying to get the sky to be not quite so blown out, not so overly blown out. Again, this is me flying medium. I'm not flying big. I'm not flying small. I'm flying medium. I'm not throwing it over 5 trees at a time. I'm throwing it over just that rooftop, right? And so when you're flying a 3-inch rig, you're going to fly smaller. Shooting this little gap here, that would have been really difficult with a 5-inch rig, but with a 3-inch rig, it's a lot more realistic. Right tool for the job, and or fly the way that the build you're flying wants to be flown. If it's a 3-inch rig, don't try to throw it over 15 trees at a time. Don't keep putting bigger and bigger and bigger motors on it until you can do that. It doesn't make sense to try to do that with a 3-inch build. That's not what it does well. So yeah, what I need to start doing on the O3 air units is setting them up with auto ISO. And I'm going to limit the ISO to not go above 800, because above 800 and it gets so noisy that it just looks super ugly. And so the ISO is going to be on auto. When I drop under the trees here, it's going to kick the ISO up to like 400, maybe 800. Under the trees will be nice and bright. And then when I come out here like this and there's a lot of sky in the frame, it'll darken the sky down a little bit. When I drop back down in the dark here, it'll brighten itself back up. When I go hammering into the sky and it's all sky, it'll drop down to ISO 100 and try to make the sky not look so excruciatingly blown out. Cool. 5-inch, 3.5-inch, 3-inch. Now we're going to go to 2S 1.6-inch 04. Hold on. While I'm doing that, I need to keep moving footage around. What's this? What is this? What is that in front of the house? Okay. This is a weird file to be on here. Here we go. So this must be the camera from the goggles. Okay. So this is the goggles camera. Oh, I got some old stuff on here. Oh, we could have watched these. This would have kind of been fun. See what the amp draw was on some of this, on those two. That was Patrick and I trying to figure out the broadcast mode. We didn't quite get there. Yeah, so this is everything that we just watched, but from the goggles. I'm just checking to make sure there's nothing on here that I don't have anywhere else. This is the 2S 1.6-inch rig. Okay, now we're good. So I don't need anything from here. Whoa, nope. That's not the right place. Don't delete stuff from there. All right, I don't need any of these. You can have FPV says flew my Meteor O4 with a flywheel wide angle lens and ND filter dates to see what it would look like. That ND filter is in there. Man. It's never coming out by accident. Nice. What is this again? It's from the goggles. It's worthless. Don't need it. Okay, hold on. I'm going to switch one more memory card. I got to put the memory card in from the HD0 goggles. Oh, shit. I hope I didn't pull that memory card too soon. Hold on. Let me just make sure. Nope, we're good. Okay. This goes in the goggles. Where'd they go? Here they are. Hold on. Let me put these in the goggles real quick. I'm starting to get confused with which memory cards go where, and unfortunately, some of this gear is a little sensitive to the size of the memory cards, the format that the memory card is in, blah 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 blah. As a reminder, I added a bunch of cool stuff to the Etsy store. Go buy yourself something. It's Friday. You deserve it. Retail therapy is real. Okay. This and then this. Here is the memory card from the HD0 goggles. Before I click play on this next file, I just want to get these copying. SAM32, movies, and yeah. All right, cool. MP4. I wish there was a way to turn off this thing where the HD0 goggles make these JPEGs over and over again. I also wish that they wouldn't randomly record in .ts format. That's incredibly frustrating. Yeah. They are some fancy goggles, but boy, they are finicky as all hell. Okay, so there we go. Those are copying. This is the worst piece of software to drive digital SLRs ever created. And it's called EOS Webcam Utility. Canon can go to hell. I've loved Canon stuff for so many years, and they're just intolerable lately. It's such a shame. Come on, man. There we go. And we're back. All right. This is Mobula 7 V3 frame, BetaFPV 1102 18,000 kV motors at 85% motor limit, GemFan 1610 propellers, biblades, ORT micro V antenna, doesn't matter. This is the BetaFPV 12 amp AIO that they don't make anymore. DJI O4 Lite with the Happy Model Mobula 704 molded canopy on tiny BT 3.0 Tiny Whoop 300 mAh batteries, 2S batteries. Oh, fart. Get out of here. There we go. And so now we're starting to lose the light. But that's okay, because Patrick's office building here is super fun to fly. So yeah, this is arguably my favorite rig right now. No momentum. You see that? It's got plenty of power, but no momentum whatsoever, as most tiny whoops do. And so that move that I did a second ago is not the right move to do with this kind of a build. This is a tiny whoop. You're going to fly this small. Can it still cruise around that exterior there? Absolutely. But you should not be trying to fly this over trees. There's Ravi chasing it around, and there's their insane 6-month-old dog. This is, you know, I just flown a bunch of big stuff, and I'm kind of flying this thing big. You're going to see me start to adjust and fly it a lot smaller. You saw there, lots of power. Look at how much throw is on this. Full throttle off of it. It's got lots of power, but it doesn't have lots of momentum. It's not heavy enough. It's not aerodynamic. And so you don't fly this thing the same way that you fly a 5-inch or a 3-inch. You fly it smaller. The easiest way to fly it smaller is to fly it in smaller places. So in this case, stay back here. Stay in the back area here. Don't go tree surfing. If you go tree surfing, keep it right side up. Don't you just like, you're not going to do the big inverted stuff with a smaller build like this. So slow it down. If you have to run a lower camera angle, run a lower camera angle and fly these little details. Look, you know, spend some time really close to the next to the building. Spend some time in like the little cluster of trees that with the 5-inch rig you went blasting through at full stank, right? Like, find the smaller stuff. In photography, one of the best advice that I ever got was shoot the details. Most people will like zoom out and try to like frame the whole scene and get like leading lines going, and that's all great. But one of the easiest ways to quickly make your photography more interesting is to shoot the details. In this case, we're kind of flying the details, right? Fly smaller, fly the details. And so that's what we're kind of doing here. We're looking for the smaller spots, right? This little path behind here that would be damn near impossible to get into with a 5-inch rig. Fly the smaller stuff. I cannot believe I hit that one tiny little branch right in front of this. But again, it's got the prop guards, so you can just turtle mode it back over and keep going. Almost put it on the fucking roof there. Lots of smaller stuff for you to find in here. Right? There's all kinds of cool stuff that you'll just go blasting past with a big power rig and you won't even notice. Find that small stuff. This build is unbelievably competent flying inside of buildings. It does have an awful lot of power. If I was going to build this to do more stuff inside of buildings, I would probably go down to like a 1002, but this is mainly for outdoor flying. But it's shockingly competent in small little spaces like this. You know, the one big problem actually is that the up tilt. The Happy Model canopy is like 25 degrees or so of up tilt, and so flying inside, like it wants to go fast. So there you go. I started flying 5 seconds in, and I just landed at 3:35. So 3.5 minutes of runtime on a 2S 350, flying it in a big area, right? Like covering a lot of ground, going all the way up to the front, all the way into the back. Yes, flying smaller, but like not just the runtime is incredible on these 2S 300 mAh builds. It's really ridiculous. It's kind of perfect. 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes for me. That's perfect runtime. So then I forced Patrick to fly it on my transmitter, on my rates, which is really difficult to do. So unfamiliar. It was also getting dark, and he didn't want to put the, $300-ish tiny whoop up into a tree. So he was super taking it easy. But this rig is just ridiculous to fly because like it's a legitimate tiny whoop, but you're flying in 04. And so like I had to let him fly it. I'm like, dude, you gotta fly this. You gotta fly this. Fly it. And yeah, it's like every time I've let somebody else fly this, it's just the same thing. Like, what? Like, how? How is this like 48 grams or whatever the hell it is, 50-something grams all up with full 4K 60? Ravi chasing us around as well. And so yeah, there you go. A great example. This is a move that you would do with a 5-inch rig, and it would throw itself up over those trees. With a tiny whoop, as soon as you chop the throttle, it pretty much stops. That's a move that you just don't really do with a tiny whoop, unless you want to make it look a little bit different. That's a cool example of it. Patrick put the sky in frame to hide that huge throttle blast and then look down. Like, that's a really cool thing to do, instead of trying to unsuccessfully throw it over the trees back behind him. So that's a perfect example of that. Around this time, I think I'm telling him, like, fly smaller. Look for small things to kind of fly this around, and it feels much better. Like it just feels like it's the right tool for the job when like you do that, when you look for those areas with a bunch of stuff that you normally wouldn't fly something bigger and more powerful around. Like over here, we've got some stuff. We've got the burn pit. We've got a couple of cars, a couple of tree trunks. And so, yeah, I may have cost Patrick $300 last night by letting him fly this. But yeah, man, these 2S 1.6-inch prop 04 rigs are just absolutely insane. Like I cannot believe what we can build and fly nowadays. It's really impressive. Not bad, man, for flying somebody else's rates on a tiny whoop. He flies. It's funny. Patrick flies like 5-inch rigs that he uses to chase wings, and then 1S 65mm ultimate freestyle tiny whoops. He's got a bunch of rigs in between, but he hasn't flown them in forever. So that is quite the departure. The 2S thing completely changes the way that a tiny whoop flies, as some of you know. And so, yeah, he killed that. Now, cool. So now we are on to Analogue 1S. No. We got some more 2S stuff. Here, we got some more 2S stuff. Hold on. Did I fly the 2S?
I'm gonna DVR this motherfucker.
Okay. I am indeed. So what is this? This is the... Hold on. Which build is this? Hold on, I'm just looking.
Okay, you can fly out front. On the side. That's cool. You see the Jeep?
Which rig is this? This might be the 2S Analogue rig.
Holy shit! It's accurate.
Yeah, this is the 2S Analogue rig. Cool, so now we are on to the Mobula 7 V3 frame. Tiny Whoop 0802 Hex 0802 19,000 kV motor at 90% motor limit. Gemfan 1610 biblades again. Happy Model X12 AIO with BT 3.0, running on the same batteries. Tiny Whoop BT 3.0 300 mAh 2S batteries. The camera is a Runcam Nano 7, which is very similar to the FXT camera. ORT Micro V antenna and old school Mobula 6 canopy. I unfortunately lost the camera on this thing last night, as you might see at some point in this flying here. I flew a bunch of batteries with this thing, so we'll just let this kind of roll. I'm gonna turn the volume down a little bit because it's just me and Patrick talking shit. And so yeah, here you go. Runcam Nano 7 was actually doing really well right up until the point where it stopped working. I'm gonna pop this canopy off and see if maybe one of the wires just broke off, but I'm pretty sure that it didn't because I was looking at it and I didn't see any wires that had broken off. I was looking at it last night after the camera stopped working. So yeah, now you're looking at one of my other absolute favorite rigs to fly right now. 2S, it just like, so 2S 300 mAh versus 1S 450 mAh. Yes, 2 times 300 is 600, so 600 milliamps total. The 300 mAh 2S battery is a little bit heavier. It's about 2 grams heavier. That's not nothing, but the response time gets a lot better, and that makes it actually almost as, if not more, if not easier to fly than like a 1S 450 mAh powered, like the rig on the tree toppers, basically. Both of them are a blast to fly, but when you go to 2S on these 1.6-inch prop rigs, it's just incredible. Like it's very similar to when we went from 4S to 6S on 5-inch rigs. Like 5-inch rigs on 4S were fine, and they still are fine, but you know, the people that still fly 4S 5-inch rigs, they haven't built and flown a 6S 5-inch rig. Once you do it, you never go back. It's just better. The higher voltage handles the amount of current draw at full throttle better, and it's more efficient. So you literally get better runtime and better performance, which, like, you never get both of those things, right? Like, you always get one or the other. And so 1S, and like the Tree Topper 1S 75mm 1.6-inch prop build is great, don't get me wrong, but it's not this good, and it's not that much lighter. I think it's only actually 2 grams lighter, which, you know, that's just not enough. It's if it were 5 grams lighter, it'd be one thing, but it's not. It's 2 maybe 3 grams lighter. And so this is just everything, man. Like, being able to do this inside with 2S, like, that's ridiculous. This is 1S super lightweight 65mm territory here. But because this thing is so dialed, because the response time is so quick, I can fly it inside and it'll keep up with the little tiny corrections, and I can not bounce from wall to wall to wall and actually have a good time. That being said, I really prefer to fly this thing outdoors. That, like, this is an outdoor build. The fact that it can do this inside is just a testament to how good it is. This thing is awesome outside. Let's see. Let me take a quick look at this camera here to see if maybe one of the wires just kind of popped off. Let's see. Hopefully it's a quick fix, because this is a brand new Runcam Nano 7. The wires are fine on the board. Not a good sign. And then the wires are fine at the camera too. Well, that sucks a big bag of donkeys. Runcam Nano 7. This camera only lasted maybe 10 batteries, if that. That's a shame. This is probably flying the same thing. Yep, this is flying the same thing. Now we keep shrinking the builds, and we keep flying them smaller. I'm now flying inside of this building and just kind of like sticking around close to the outside of the building. Yes, mainly because it's dark now, and we're just relying on the outdoor lights. But still, as the rigs get smaller, you're gonna fly smaller, and that's what you're seeing happening. I'm flying smaller and smaller and smaller every single time we lose light and just keep flying different builds, basically. Benny Bravo says, "What are your thoughts on the Happy Model Crux 3? If that's the toothpick, then I've heard good things. I'm not a fan of open prop small builds like that, because every time I crash, I have to take the walk of shame, because they don't have enough power to push like an blade of grass out of the way. But other than that, yeah, if you're into toothpicks, I've heard good things about that rig." Tamava says, "Has the early durability problems of O4 Lite gone away in your opinion, or are you just reinforcing the trouble areas that were found?" I think that any unbelievably small and lightweight digital VTX setup is going to be fragile. I don't think that DJI has changed anything that they've done about the way that they're making them. I could totally be wrong. But yeah, I don't know. It took a while for me to break one. Mine have been very durable, all things considered. I think that the people that are screaming and yelling are just, they just don't understand the fact that, like, if you cram an entire digital VTX onto one single board and try to make it weigh like 5 grams, that you're not gonna be able to hammer it into concrete 40,000 times in a row, you know? Yeah, you got to be realistic about this. But no, I don't think DJI has done anything to make it more durable. I would love to be wrong about that, though. RunCam Nano 7. Have you just committed Harry Carey, or is maybe a wire hanging? Is that a wire hanging off? Please be a wire hanging off. There might be a wire hanging off. Hold on. Nope. That's not a wire hanging off. Damn it. I think it just died. It could be a broken trace between the video pad and the OSD chip, but boy, do I doubt it. So, yeah, the troubleshoot on this. So, what happened is, you're going to see it eventually. The video went to gray, and there was still OSD. And so, when that happens, the camera is taking light. It's changing it into ones and zeros. It's sending those ones and zeros down its wire to the pad that you have it soldered to. That pad is going to run a trace inside the AIO to one of the legs of the OSD chip. That video goes into the OSD chip. The OSD chip puts a transparent layer on the front with the OSD. It then sends that video with the OSD layered in down another trace to the VTX chip on the AIO. That VTX chip then sends the video signal boosted to the UFL. The UFL up into the antenna, down the wire of the antenna, to the head of the antenna, through the air, to your goggles. The reason why I take you through that whole path is that when you're troubleshooting video problems, if you think about that path, you know each individual point where a problem could have occurred. So, in this case, we still had OSD, we still had signal. The VTX is fine because we had signal, not static. The OSD chip is fine because we had OSD. The problem is either the camera itself, the wires coming out of the camera, the pad that the camera wires are soldered to, the trace that video goes down on its way to the OSD chip, or the OSD pin, the pin on the OSD chip where the video comes in. Chances are it's the camera. It's always the camera. But you got to think about that. You got to think about these things. You got to take a step back and think about the path in order to troubleshoot these things. Because when you just go to Facebook or Reddit and say, well, I don't have picture, what's happening? Every idiot is just going to randomly say something, and then you're going to go chasing your tail, and you're going to waste lots of time and probably not even fix it. I'm pretty sure that I'm still flying that same rig. Patrick's got all kinds of cool LED lights in here, so he's playing around with changing those up a little bit. This is pretty dark, but this RunCam Nano 7 was doing a really good job with this level of... with this low light level. And it's... What's kind of cool about playing with the available light with Tiny Whoop cameras is that we don't have any adjustment on Tiny Whoop cameras. We can't adjust the shutter speed or any of that. And so you can adjust the shutter speed by doing stuff like this, by using colored lights that are not as dark as like bright white lights. This is going to make the shutter speed slow down, so there's actually going to be a little bit more motion blur here, which is kind of cool. I play around with that here in the basement every once in a while. We don't really talk about it very much, though. So, all right. RunCam Nano 7, I think, has shit the bed, unfortunately. Let me unscrew a couple screws here on this canopy, because this camera needs to come out of here. And I'm actually going to end up swapping this over to a regular RunCam Nano 3, more than likely. This is something different. We are flying something different now. Because the duct in view, look at how much duct there is in view, and webcam utility shit the bed again, right? And so now we have practically no duct in view. So let me leave the audio on for a second to see if I say what rig this is. Yeah, the LEDs died on the left side, so I was giving Patrick a hard time. What am I flying?
I've hit the Miata so far, but I haven't hit the...
Come on, me from yesterday. What are you flying? It's a clear frame. I know that. This might be the tree topper build. This looks like a Runcam Nano 3, which is not super helpful. This might be the 1.4-inch prop build. I'm usually better about saying out loud what the what it is that I'm flying. I'm pretty sure this is the 1.4-inch prop build. Everyday with Bruno says Canon. Ginger FPV RC says, how you doing? Hope you're having a great night. Thank you for changing my life. From one piece of advice. Thank you, good sir. You're certainly welcome, dude. What was it? What was the advice? Hopefully it was good advice. Benny Bravo says, what do you, we got that. Tamava says, oh no, we got that. Striker says, I was very much thinking on getting a Nano 7. FOV looks nice. I always find myself wanting more FOV than I get from the Nano 3. Yeah, the Nano 7 was fine right until the moment that it died. It's probably just a fluke. You can FPV says, I'm, well, here, we can check it. We can check it. Hold on. Here, let's check to see which build this is. This is easy. Ready? All I got to do is hit this button and then hook a battery up to this thing. This is the 1.4-inch build based around the Mobula 6 2024. And so if I point this towards something dark, black screen. Oh, there's no duct in view here. Okay, so it's not the 1.4-inch build. So that would mean... Oh, it might be this. It might be the tree topper build. Let's see what the tree topper build looks like. Nope, that's too much duct in view. Not the tree topper build. So that means, I guess, that it's this guy here, which is the ultimate freestyle tiny whoop. 2G4, 36,000 kV, 0702s. Let's point it at something dark. Oh, this has this goes all the way down to pit mode. Come on, ELRS. Yep, there it goes. And arm it. Okay, get it out of pit mode. Yep, there it is. That's this guy. Wait, no, what? There's no duct in view there. I may have pushed the camera angle up a little bit. It has to be this. No, it doesn't. It might be this. One more second, friends. Sorry, I meant to do this beforehand, but I just ran out of time. NX69 battery being plugged in. Come on. Come on. Oh, here we go. Nope, that's not it either. So it has to be the ultimate freestyle tiny whoop. I just had the up tilt pushed down a little bit. Okay. So this is Cockroach V3 frame, tiny whoop 0702, 36,000 kV motors. What are these propellers? These are HQ 1.2 by 0.9 by 3 tri-blades, 2G4 AIO. Mobula 6 canopy, Runcam Nano 3 camera, ORT micro V antenna. That's what you're watching here. Oh, we're getting all multi-windowed. That's fine. No, hold on. Let's do this. Yeah, this is a 65 millimeter setup for sure. I could tell by the by how quick it yaws, by how snappy the yaw is. How snappy the jaw is. It's got good jaw authority. JAW. JAW authority. Jaw. I got sand in 2 or 3 of these rigs. I have not had the sand clogging motors up thing happen in a long time. It was a good reminder of why I typically only fly the 0702 powered rigs inside the house. It's funny the things that you like take for granted. It's even funnier the things that you take for granted. It's important. All right, I'm just getting this thing ready for to have this camera swapped out. I wish those FXT cameras hadn't disappeared. I think the Runcam Nano 7 is basically what replaced those FXT cameras that came in the Mobile 6 2024, but I'm not totally sure. Same build. Turn the volume down a little bit so you guys don't have to hear me cackle. Yeah, this is that build. This is for sure that build. So cool. Still flying small, but flying a little bit bigger, right? Putting some gates outside, big ass gap between them. I did not do a great job at flying out here. Fair warning. I was not flying great out here. Striker said, no, we got that. UFSTW says it's still 300 mAh. You only increase voltage, not capacity, unless the cells are in parallel. Not true. A 300 mAh 2S battery is 2 300 mAh cells, so 600 mAh total. In the same way that a 6S 1000 mAh battery is 6 1000 mAh cells. That's how our batteries work. So a 1S 300 mAh battery. Well, it's easy to figure this out if you've got a scale, right? So if I take a scale, if I take my scale here, right? And I'm going to weigh a 1S 300 mAh battery, and it's coming in at 8.3 grams. I'm now going to weigh a 2S 300 mAh battery, and it is 15.3 grams. You can also just kind of like look at the batteries, right? Like if you look at a 1S 300 mAh battery, and then you look at a 2S 300 mAh battery, the 2S battery will be twice as big. When the dimensions are like, when they're the 1S batteries are usually like really long, so it's hard to kind of do that. But yeah, easiest way to do that is just with a scale. Lithium weighs what lithium weighs. All right. Come on. There we go. That was a small gap. So the first, I was actually... Fuck was that? So the first time through... Oh no, I already did it. Yeah, so I was trying to do that top gap there, and I just and so the first time I came through, I was actually aiming for that top gap, and it went through the bottom gap. Ready? So I was literally trying to get it through that top one there, and then so I figured if it'll fit through there, I gotta shoot the right one. I gotta shoot the top one. I think I got it on this one. There it was. With a correction, too. Oh, man. What a blast. What an absolute blast. KO Swanner says, the Ant Light can fly at night with decent moonlight, but I've found the best night camera to be the HD Lux. Yeah, I've heard good things about the HD Lux. I don't like it during the daytime, though. Ginger FVRC says meet people. Yeah, dude. Fuck yeah. It's easy to just, I mean, for me, more than most, just be a basement dweller and just hang out inside all the time. But goddamn, we need to meet people. I believe this is Patrick flying because I started the recording in the middle. I think this is now the Tree Toppers build. Maybe? There's like practically no
Fly that bitch real slow.
duct in view. Oh no, okay. So this is the 1.4 inch build. Yeah. This is the 1.4 inch build because I'm telling them to fly it slow. Yeah. Cool. So now we are on to the 1.4 inch setup. This is a Mobula 6 2024 version 2 that I've moved over into a Meteor 65 Pro frame with the bigger 1.4 inch propellers. These are the HQ. These are the HQ 1.4 by, I think it's 1.2 by 3. You'll see them. There's really only one HQ ultralight 1.4 inch tri-blade propeller. The motors are Weebleed 0702 32,500 kV with the 1.5 millimeter motor shaft. And then it's got a True RC Singularity CP antenna direct soldered on. The camera is the FXT camera that comes with the Mobula 6 2024. Again, this is a Mobula 6 2024 with a motor swap and a frame swap and the bigger propellers. That's really it. And so that's what you're looking at now. Slower, more floaty. The next battery, I really tried to show off that floatiness and just like throw it up in the air and look at the delay as it comes down. FXT camera looks way different. It almost actually looks like the camera was a little bit dirty. Hopefully at some point, yeah, I can hear myself saying, check out the float, check out the float. So yeah, this is me just trying to like accentuate the difference between the 1.2s and the 1.4s. Mike K says, I got my 5-way PVC connectors today. I can finally practice Race Gal tracks pick in Discord. Very cool. Link to my Discord over on CiottiFPV.com for anybody that wants to check it out. James Caldwell says, what would be the best props? What would the best props be for my Tiny Hawk Nano Scout for Race Gal? James, props are a super individual decision. Luckily, they're super inexpensive. So buy a bunch of different props, try them out for yourself, see which ones you like the best. My personal favorites are the HQ Ultralight 1.2 by 0.9 by 3s for indoor. For outdoor, the HQ Ultralight 1.2 by 1.2 by 2. But yeah, man, buy yourself like 4 or 5 different sets of props, fly them all, see which ones you like the best. Every single propeller is a different weight, a different durability, a different pitch, and those things all matter. You can really see how slow this thing is. This 1.4 inch build is very lightweight, bigger frame, bigger propellers. It's a different flight experience. It doesn't have the response time that the 1.2 inch builds have, but it's very, very fun. In between that fan and the garage door. Really, really cool build. And not very expensive to try this out, right? This is a frame and a set of props to try out one of these 1.4 inch setups. Now we've got a bunch of propeller in view. I think this is the tree topper setup. Let me just let me catch a full throttle blip here. It looks like I forgot to record again. We're 2 minutes and 17 seconds in. Trying to wait for myself to say what this is. Come on, yesterday me. Wow, it still fits through there. The ducts look like the Mobula 7 V4 ducts. Here we go. Oh, damn, son. Okay, so this is the this is not that rig. This is the Hummingbird V4. So this is Hummingbird V4 switched over to HQ 1.2 by 0.9 by 3 propellers. And then this has a 10-degree Bri-Brain mount that I've now broken another one of. So this was a 10-degree Bri-Brain mount. Do not print out these strong Bri-Brain mounts. They break at this front strut immediately. That's it. This is on NX69 batteries. And this is not me flying it anymore. This is now a no duct in view build. This is the tree topper build.
This is 65.
Oh, apparently not. What am I flying now? Oh, I know what this is. This is the outdoor 65mm build. Look how fast this is. And look at how slidey this is.
Yeah, you.
This is... yeah, look how fast it is. So, this is... Shit, dude, I flew 10 builds. I didn't even realize it. I can change the stream to... fuck, I'll leave it 9. This is BetaFPV Champion Edition, which is on BetaFPV 0702 30,000 kV motors. This has the HQ Ultralight biblades, 1.2 by 1.2 by 2. Other than that, yeah, this is just... and then this is on the Air65 V4 frame. This is the build that this is one of the 2 builds that I did for Wednesday's live stream, specifically changing a couple things, namely the propellers and the frames, for an indoor or an outdoor 65mm 1S build. And so this is the outdoor 1S 65mm build. Very narrow ducts and then biblades that make it a lot faster and a lot more slidey outside. You can see there, it just ate that gap up between these 2 cubes. If you're gonna build a 1S 65 for outside, this is what you want to do. You want the Air 65 V4 frame or the Newbie Drone Lite AF frame, and then you want these biblades, these HQ 1.2 by 1.2 by 2 biblades. Totally transforms a 65mm 1S build. It's got a BetaFPV AIO on it, and so of course it goes full rainbow every single time I crash it. It's starting to happen more and more, so I think this thing is on its last leg. Pretty soon I'm not gonna have any BetaFPV rigs anymore. Their AIOs are dropping like flies. This should now be that same build. Oh yeah, it is. Look at that. I mean, that amount of speed and just the way that it yawed with like no nonsense, that's what you get with biblades and a frame where the ducts are really narrow.
Not that low, I guess.
Boy, I have made a mess on this desk in front of me. I'm gonna keep taking apart this 2S rig because I'm pretty sure that this camera is done. And then, yeah, I got a bunch of work I need to do. I got to swap that camera mount again on the Hummingbird V4. I'm not going to put another one of these Bri-Brain BI mounts on it because they're breaking within 1 or 2 batteries. I just did something stupid and hit the right arrow instead of the down arrow. Hopefully I didn't screw myself. Nope, we're good. Now this, what is this? We've got some diagonal lines with some video noise. So that makes me think that this is maybe a Mobula 6 2024. On the bottom of the frame, I can see white ducts. So that we are back to the... I gotta mute that. I'm gonna get copyright ding-donged. We are now back to the Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoop. 2G4 Cockroach V3 frame, 36,000 kV 0702s, 1.2 by 0.9 by 3 tri-blades, ORT micro V antenna. Yeah, this is the Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoop formula. And I believe that one of these motors is jammed up with sand in it. Yep, sure enough. Motor number 4. At some point, this thing won't take off anymore. So I need to blow this motor out. I mean, technically it could have grenaded the motor, but I doubt it. Actually, look, the little C-clip on the bottom is really close to the frame. No, there's a grain of sand in the stator poles. That's usually what happens when you crash one of these tiny little motors into sand, and then it doesn't spin anymore. Do not, when that happens, do not sit here and crank on the propeller. If the propeller is grabbing a hold of the motor shaft really hard, you will slip a motor shaft just sitting here like trying to unjam this motor. Be very gentle if you're going to use the propeller to wiggle it back and forth and see if you can get the grain of sand to pop out, or grab the motor bell. Grab the motor bell from the bottom and twist the motor bell to try to free the motor up. Always remember that the connection point between the motor shaft and the motor bell is very weak, and you can very easily slip a motor shaft. I was doing this last night and I wasn't able to get it to free up, and of course I just got it to free up, which is fine. I think I flew all the batteries last night. It's still kind of unhappy. I'm still probably going to need to pull this bell off. This is definitely the same rig because it's the only one that goes all the way down into pit mode like that before I arm it. Yep. Whatever was the sand just, I think, came out of here. Tamava says, Newbie Drone V4 comes with the NX69 plug now. It does indeed. Worth picking up one of these. A few other batteries if I already have some BT 2.0 from a dead walk snail, or just build something else. I've been really impressed with the Hummingbird V4. Really, really, really impressed. So it gets a huge thumbs up for me. You know, whether or not you do the NX69 batteries, that's on you. They're not any better than the BT 2.0 batteries. They're just different. So maybe buy it and just put a BT 2.0 lead on it and use your existing batteries. Unless like your batteries are hammered, then maybe it's time to swap. Can't believe I kept hitting the top of that. It's like a 15-foot tall opening, and I managed to fly straight up into it. That's what I was trying to do. So this is the indoor rig. It's not set up for big throws like that, and there's sand getting in this motor that I'm screwing with right now. Yeah. Nope. That's it.
I cannot imagine that.
And so now we have... What am I flying now?
Oh, yeah, baby.
I don't know what this is. I don't know what I'm flying now. The camera is obviously different. What is this now? We're getting towards the end. Oh, this is the 1.4-inch build again, which I think I ended up banging up. Yeah, this motor is good to go now. I just should have. I just needed to. No, it's still a little rough. It feels fine for a second, and then it gets all angry again. Here's the full audio. Let me go blow this motor out. I'm interested to see if it'll free up.
I'm used to doing Matty flips with a white ceiling or the bright blue sky above me. I'm trying to do them tonight with black above me, and I am all off, which makes sense.
You are racist.
Jane, you ignorant slut. You! Oh, I set this little dive thing up and I didn't even do it.
Good to go!
Uh-oh. I think that's back behind there.
A little bit of canned air. Took great care of it. Cool. That's nice. I don't have to take this motor apart. Yeah. I did not have that.
That ain't coming out.
That ain't coming out. It's the last thing I said. And that's it. There you guys go. 9 different builds at the same spot. Somewhere in there was the tree topper build. I'm not sure where it was, but there's a battery hanging out of this, and so I know that I flew this. So sorry, but yeah, it was probably that one towards the end where I was like, I think this is probably the tree topper build. Little bit lighter than the 2S setup. The response time is not as good. The runtime is not as good. Still very fun. But yeah, absolutely nothing wrong with this. Look, if you have a bunch of 1S 450 mAh batteries floating around, build one of these. Mobula 7 1S ELRS with the tree topper motors. That's it. Don't go nuts. Just do that. BT 2.0, of course. And it's just perfect. It's the perfect way to use all of these 450 1S batteries that you've got. If you're going to build something from scratch and you don't have a bunch of batteries, don't do this. Don't do this. Go 2S. The 2S setup is just ridiculous. And then, look, if you decide that you want to do like O4 with it or walk snail with it or something like that, the 1S setup just sucks. It doesn't suck, but that ain't it. This is the way to go. Go 2S if you don't already have these batteries. But again, if you already have these batteries, for the love of God, get you some tree toppers. They just totally transform these 1.6-inch 1S builds. I have tons of these 1S 450s. I'm actually considering buying a second set of these tree topper motors to build a second one of these 1.6-inch builds so that I can start flying the shit out of them and ripping through these 450 mAh batteries. But I probably won't do that. I should probably just list some of these 450 batteries on my Etsy store and let you guys snag a couple of them rather than just destroying them. You know what I mean? Oh my God, there's just shit everywhere. What have I done? Would anybody buy these? Would anybody buy? I would have like 4 of these 1S 450 mAh lava batteries for sale, basically. Is anybody looking to get 450s? Anybody? Anybody? Bueller? What's another interesting... So, I've got this 75 millimeter 1S case, and I've only got one rig that'll go in here. I can't think of another interesting 1S. I don't think there is. I think I might actually sell this, which makes me feel terrible because custom FPV made it for me. So I don't know, but I can't think of another interesting 1S 1.6-inch prop build for that, because like this is it. Like this is as good as it gets right here. These tree topper motors demolish all the other motors out there, and like the X12 is the jam, and so it's like, now what? What I have been doing though, which is probably what I'll just keep doing, is there is no case for these 1.4-inch builds, but they do drop in there. So that's probably what I'll do here. But I can't help but wonder if any of you guys have any incredibly clever ideas of what to do with your 1S 450 mAh batteries. I swear to God, there was another one of these builds where the motors got jammed up, or there was something going on. It's not this one though, so that's cool. This guy's going back in here. Which was your favorite? I should do good YouTuber things and encourage engagement. You guys just saw me fly 9 different builds. What was your favorite one to watch? I just smashed my pinky into this 3D printed case good and hard. And I want to scream, but I'm not gonna, because I'm tough. Fly your 6 batteries. Did I put hashtag 6 batteries in the title? I did. Shit. I didn't charge any batteries. Sorry, guys. Fly your 6 batteries for me because it's fun and it'll only take you like 20, 25, 30 minutes. And tomorrow you will thank today you because you'll be a little bit better of a pilot tomorrow. And you'll be a little bit calmer because you'll have done something that you enjoy. Cool? Let me get caught up on chat and then we can all put our hands in together. We'll scream break and we'll all walk away. James Caldwell said, no, we got that. You Can FPV says, yeah, so you're essentially draining 2 300 mAh batteries at the same time versus an actual 600 mAh cell. Yep, absolutely. And so, like, if you build a rig that makes twice as much power and it's twice as heavy, then a 2S 300 mAh battery will last the same amount of time as a 1S 300 mAh battery, but we typically don't do that, right? We when we go up in battery, especially in this case, right? You know, we go from a 1S 450 mAh battery to a 2S 300 mAh battery, and we put a motor on there that's actually way lower in kV, right? Like, it makes a little bit more power, but it doesn't make a lot more power. And so, yeah. There you go. Tamava says, newbie drone... No, we got that. Tamava also says, it's some RR 500 and Tiny Whoop 550s, but yeah, they have maybe 20 cycles on each, probably swap a lead. Yeah, 20 cycles is not very much. Brian Kirk says, yes, absolutely. Grom Drone says, what is happening in the FPV world? Been out for a while. DJI O4 is still available. Yes, DJI O4 is available now, basically until the end of the year, at which point the idiots in power have been bought and paid for by Skydio, essentially, and DJI is going to be banned. They're hiding it behind some absolute and utter bullshit, but realistically, that is what has happened. Skydio, the CEO of Skydio, a U.S.-based drone company, the CEO is essentially buddy-buddy with Trump and has managed to convince a government to find some bullshit to ban DJI over. Is really, from what I've heard from the people that are in the know, what has actually happened here. So we will all suffer because of their greed, as always, right? You know, that's 2025 in a nutshell, and that's what will be happening for the next 3 years. And yeah, it sucks, super bad. We will probably be able to get DJI stuff from people that live in other countries that, you know, ship them like 1 at a time, 2 at a time to individuals, to us. We'll pay a bunch of extra money for that. For what? You know, so that the top 1% can get even richer. Hope it was worth it. You know, I hope owning the libs was worth it for everyone's lives getting significantly worse. I fear that it wasn't. But, you know, those people will realize that once their lives get bad enough. As if they aren't already. Brian Kirk says, I would buy some 450s. 4 of mine are about dead. Ramalala says, Flywoo, the 5-in-1, get them for free and tell us. What does that mean? Flywoo, the 5-in-1. Get what for free? And tell you what? Hurry up, because I'm about to end the live stream. Brian Kirk, shoot me a message. You can have all 4 of them. Wait. Actually, hold on. Let me... Yep, nope. Yeah, that's what I got. I will sell you 4 of them. Yep, if you want all 4, you got them. They're on the... they're going down to storage charge right now. 1, 2, 3, 4. These are all for you if you want them. You don't have to buy all 4. You can just buy 2. But shoot me a message on Discord. And bonus points if in your message you tell me what they sell for, so I don't have to look it up. Ramalala says their AIO looks tempting. Ah, okay, yeah. The Flywoo AIOs are apparently really nice, but they're also unbelievably expensive, and it's tough to do FPV full time. And so, yeah, I can't just buy that AIO just for the sake of kind of testing it. It's a little bit too expensive for that. If I had like if I needed an AIO like that, it would be a different story, right? Like if I have to buy something that I do genuinely need, I can then also test it for you guys. But I don't need an AIO like that, and so I can't, I just can't afford to just throw $90 at it, unfortunately. But if enough of you join the Patreon, I'll have plenty of money. So head on over to CiottiFPV.com and join my Patreon. As it is, all the money that I make goes into food and house, and I don't have any other hobbies that I spend any of the money on, and I don't really plan on it, to be honest. I'm perfectly happy spending whatever couple extra bucks that I have on random FPV stuff that I don't necessarily need to do testing, because that's fun for me, right? That's what hobbies are. But yeah, the bigger we blow this thing up, the more stuff that I can test. So tell your friends, post, take a little short, make a little clip of your favorite part of whatever live stream, and then post that on like your local Facebook group or on your Instagram stories or whatever. Help do some marketing for me, and I'll test some more stuff for you. How's that sound? Thanks for hanging, guys. It is my pleasure to be crowdfunded and to do everything that I've done over the last 3.5 years. It's been a hell of a ride. I would love to keep it going, but God only knows what's going to happen here. I don't even think he knows. Be good. I'll see you guys again on Sunday at 3 o'clock. Here's some more Castle Crashin'. I love you. Bye. Have an excellent rest of your Friday night.